everyone. My name is Donna Kelly Williams, and I'm the president of the Massachusetts Nurses Association. We represent over 23,000 nurses and healthcare professionals across the Commonwealth, many in public sector. And I am here today in support of House Bill 3281, an act relative to investment in fossil fuels, which is currently before this committee. Nurses and other healthcare professionals are committed to improving public health at all levels. In this vein, we believe it is time for the Commonwealth to support the divestment of public employee pension funds from fossil fuels. The dangers of climate change and the contributions of fossil fuels to this crisis are well documented. We are at a pivotal point where citizens and our government must choose to act or do nothing and wait for the situation to deteriorate further. The M&A and our members choose action. Nurses and healthcare professionals see the direct health effects the consumption of fossil fuels has on their patients. The burning of fossil fuels is a direct contributor to air pollution, which in turn causes a host of serious public health issues, including asthma and other respiratory problems. We see the increase in these ailments in our hospitals, in our physicians' offices, and at our schools. According to the American Lung Association in the United States, more than 40% of the population lives in areas with unhealthy levels of air pollution. That is unacceptable and, from a public health perspective, a disaster. In addition to an environmental crisis, which many others will offer testimony today, we have a public health crisis on our hands. We have seen recently more powerful storms that have caused tens of thousands of injuries and deaths. Droughts and famines are leading to clean water shortages and malnourishment. In addition, according to the Environmental Protection Agency, fine particle pollution, which results from the burning of fossil fuels, causes early death from both short and long-term exposure, causes cardiovascular harm, heart attacks, stroke, heart disease, and congestive heart failure, likely causes respiratory harm, worsened asthma, worsened COPD inflammation, and may cause cancer as well as developmental and reproductive harm. By taking the time to look at how the Commonwealth can divest its pension funds from fossil fuels, we are making a different kind of investment in the future of health, if not only but for ourselves, but for our planet. I respectfully request that the committee issue a favorable report on House Bill 3281. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I'm Barbara Manaloni, president of the 110,000 member Massachusetts Teachers Association. I just want to add a few thoughts in terms of why the MTA is supporting this legislation. We're educators, and every day the future is in front of us and the young people that we work with. So we are committed to the future that they have an opportunity to create and the future that they're entering. This legislation is about guaranteeing them, or working toward guaranteeing them, the opportunity to have a healthy future, to live in a safe environment. And interestingly, because this is legislation that's relative to pension funds, it's about the future of the educators as well. And the consideration that the MTA members went into to say, actually in this one, our priority has to be the future of the children in front of us, but this legislation offers us an opportunity to do that in a way that as well protects our pensions. And we're committed to both of those. But I can't help but think about, when I was preparing this legislation, this testimony I said about the future, that we are now preparing in Massachusetts in our schools to welcome students from Puerto Rico who I really consider to be internal climate change refugees. We're here already. Climate change isn't something that we can put off. It's something that we have to protect against and start to think about how to rebuild. Divestment has worked in the past. It worked in 1997 when this body voted to divest from tobacco. And in 1982, when internationally people voted to divest from South Africa, so that we know it can work. It's an important political weapon. And just the last piece is the Massachusetts Teachers Association itself is reviewing our investment portfolios and will be divesting from fossil fuels.
We represent 20,000 human service workers and educators in Massachusetts, including 8,000 state employees, of which I am one. I contribute to the state pension system. I'm a 19-year employee of the Department of Children and Families, as well as president of the local. In addition to what my colleagues have said, to Madam Chair's point, reiterating what has been said, and I wholeheartedly agree, I think it's important to note that Local 509 has, as a board, as an entity, has endorsed climate justice as a priority for our local and our 20,000 members. This is an important issue, not only for our future, for myself as a contributor to the pension fund. I believe and know, and the research shows that the science is true. We are facing climate change that is a direct result of fossil fuels. Our members know this. I'm a father and I want a better future for my daughter, and this is important. It's important enough where a public employee local voted to make this a priority for the local. This is not something that unions typically do, but I'm proud that our local is doing that and leading the way. So I know our 8,000 state workers are behind me on this. The 20,000 members of Local 509 are behind me. I have written testimony that I'll submit as well. Thank you for your time.
I'm proud to serve as political director after leaving the classroom for 22 years as a music teacher. As teachers, it is not only our job, but also our mission to ensure the good health and well-being of our students. Today, in advocating for the swift passage of H3281, an act relative to investment in fossil fuels, I see an opportunity to ensure and protect the health and long-term welfare of our students, their families, and our communities. To zero in on one key issue that hits close to home in Boston schools, fossil fuel emissions have been proven to be one of the most influential factors in the development of respiratory diseases. Reports have clearly shown that burning coal increases asthma among children by constricting the airways due to inflammation and contraction. I ask this esteemed committee and all of the taxpayers and parents in the audience, why would we as a state continue to invest directly in pollutants that have been shown to compromise the ability of our children, students to breathe, let alone thrive? We don't want our retirement funds used in a manner that jeopardizes our future. This means we must transition rapidly to renewable energy and away from fossil fuels. We should not invest our hard-earned money and our retirees' future in those companies who disproportionately put our health and future at risk. This bill provides a safe means to advance these goals of safety and good health, both for workers and for the students we are responsible for. Thank you.
I'm here today representing over 8,000 public service and higher education employees in the Commonwealth to testify in support of House Bill 3281. As both the primary funders and the beneficiaries of the pension system, we want to make sure that our pensions are invested in the public good. Our survival depends on making a transition away from fossil fuels, and in particular, we view investing in coal as not only a bad financial decision, but one that negatively affects the health and welfare of our members and the environment in which they live. House Bill 3281 would immediately divest from coal, and we view that as a very important step in the right direction, as well as establish the commission so we can continue having these conversations. Not only is it the right thing to do, we believe it makes financial sense. The finding of financial loss to the pension system of over $500 million in the last year from investing in fossil fuels is a strong argument for divestment. Thank you very much.